Hello, this is Reverend Angelia with today's Bible reading. Today's reading comes from Hebrews 9, the blood of Christ. When Christ came as high priest of the good things that are already here, he went through the greater and more perfect tabernacle that is not man-made. He went through the one in heaven. That is to say, not a part of this creation. Because God created the heavens and the earth, all the natural things that God created. This world, the man-made world, he did not create. Man made that. That's what's man-made world. He did not enter by means of the blood of goats and calves, like, in the Old Testament they had to sacrifice. But he entered the most holy place once for all by his own blood, which he shed for us to forgive our sins, so we could go to be up there with him and in the Father. Having obtained eternal redemption. Eternal redemption. If Jesus is your Savior, you have eternal redemption. The blood of goats and bulls and the ashes of a heifer sprinkled on those who are ceremonially unclean sanctify them so that they are outwardly clean. It's a symbolic cleansing. It's not a real cleansing. How much more then will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, because he gave up his life as a sin offering for us, and a perfect one, because he's God's Son, who committed no sin, but he took ours on. Cleanse our consciences from acts that lead to death, which, of course, are sin. You have to excuse me today. I got kind of a itchy nosy thing going on, and not the Japanese name. So that we may serve the living God. And that is our job, first and foremost, to serve the living God. For this reason, Christ is the mediator of a new covenant. The new covenant, the New Testament. Yeah, I just can't get over the itch. Today, not only there's a hair hanging from my glasses, or what's going on here. But he's made a new covenant with us through Jesus. So the old covenant is obsolete. Remember we talked about that last time? It's obsolete. That those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance. An eternal inheritance. Not something, not a piece of property, not a house that's going to fall down. Eternal. Never goes away. Now that he has died as a ransom to set them free from the sins committed under the first covenant. So Jesus died as a ransom, as our ransom, to keep us from dying and going to hell, if we just believe in him. In the case of a will, it is necessary to prove the death of the one who made it, because a will is in force only when somebody has died. It never takes effect while the one who made it is living. Hopefully no one can pull that off. This is why even the first covenant was not put into effect without blood. When Moses had proclaimed every commandment of the law to all the people, my goodness, he took the blood of calves, together with water, scarlet wool, and branches of hyssop, and sprinkled the scroll and all the people. He said, "This is the blood of the covenant, which God has commanded you to keep." In the same way, he sprinkled with the blood both the tabernacle and everything used in its ceremonies. My goodness. I don't know what that's about today. In fact, the law requires that nearly everything be cleansed with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. It was necessary, then, for the copies for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these sacrifices, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ did not enter a man-made sanctuary that was only a copy of the true one. He entered heaven itself, now to appear for us in God's presence. See, to appear for us. He's our defense attorney. Nor did he enter heaven to offer himself again and again. So once you're saved, that's it. You don't have to keep doing it again and again. And, that's something I've struggled with over the years. As you backslide, you're like, oh, God can't let me now because we did this or whatever, But he does. The way the high priest enters the most holy place every year with blood in it that is not his own, then Christ would have had to suffer many times since the creation of the world. So if he had to, shed blood every time someone committed a sin, if he were a regular human being, of course he would not survive, because people sin, that's a fact of life. But now he has appeared once and for all at the end of the ages to do away with sin by the sacrifice of himself. Now, does that mean you're totally innocent if you're saved and believe in Jesus Christ? Not necessarily, because Jesus himself said there's going to be those that come before him and he'll say, "Get away from me, I knew you not." So, the motivation there is, once you become a Christian, you should stop sinning. That's the idea there, is to try to perfect yourself, and we're not going to ever be perfect, Jesus said that, to perfect yourself in the image of Christ. Just as man is destined to die once, and after that to face judgment. So Christ was sacrificed once to take away the sins of many people, and he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. As it talks later on about, we'll be caught up in the air with him. So that's all for now. Until next time.